Hello and welcome everyone to this live demo session on SAP ABAP on HANA come S4 HANA technical training. In this live demo session, we are going to learn about core concepts of SAP S4 HANA technical development using CDS. This demo session will help you to understand a practical use case and will kickstart our live batch from today. My name is Anubhav and I have total 20 years of experience in the field of SAP. I'm been training on SAP S4 HANA and ABAP on HANA over last 12 years by now. I have extensively worked on SAP S4 HANA and SAP BTP as a solution architect to help companies designing a end-to-end solution with both in-app as well as side-by-side extensions to S4. We are going to discuss in this training session who is this training for, what's the overview of this training, what can you expect in the next 40 hours of this training journey, followed by we will discuss our demo use case. After our demo use case, we will understand what are some of the frequently asked questions and finally live question and answers in this demo session. So let's get started and understand who's this training for. If you're working like Shams, who's a Scrum professional, working as a Scrum lead, leading a ABAP team and want to start a new project for ABAP on HANA or S4 HANA and want to estimate what will be the efforts for developing different new kind of artifacts in your organization, this training is going to help you. If you're working like Jenny, who is a BW consultant and now regularly getting requirement to build dashboards and embedded analytics on S4 HANA, including Analytics Cloud, then you will understand how to build analytical data model on S4 and consume them in the different OLAP tools. This training is also going to help you. If you're working like an ABAP consultant like Maria here, who would want to embrace the change in technology to make your ABAP program run faster on HANA, this training is also going to help you. Finally, if you are any ABAP consultant or SAP technical enthusiast like Johan, who would want to build amazing Fiori applications on top of CDS views and CDS entities and exploit the full potential of an S4 HANA system for your organization, this training is also going to help you. So, what do you expect in the next 40 hours of this journey? In this journey, we are going to first start with latest tools like ABAP development tool on Eclipse, how to set up these tools and connect to your SAP system, understand the new ABAP syntax in latest NetWeaver version, followed by topics like BOF, IDA, and fuzzy search. In the phase 2 of this training, we are going to understand the custom code conversion for SAP S4 HANA, understanding the virtual data modeling using CDS views and CDS entities, and also understand how to migrate your custom code when your company move to S4 HANA solution. We will also understand the core concepts of HANA database, what makes HANA so powerful, and how it implies to our ABAP based HANA systems, how to utilize the computational power of this so-called in-memory database, how it meets ABAP system, and how do you can develop even data models on HANA. In the last phase, we will go completely into the new tech and technologies, understanding the concepts of CDS views, AMDPs, SQL scripting, OData services, and build end-to-end transactional and analytical apps for our organization. How to use power of latest tools like Business Application Studio to build end-to-end amazing applications. So let's understand what are we going to do in this demo. In this demo, I will show you a practical use case And I will start with my development tool called Eclipse, ABAP development tool on Eclipse to begin with that. Then we will understand creating annotations, creating a CDS view for our use case, and then creating annotations to enrich our data model. Further, expose our services out to expose the data out over web so that it can be built and consumed in Fiori application. We will then use one of the S4 HANA embedded analytics template called analytic list page application to build data insight and analytics for our user. Before we follow this process, we need to first understand our practical use case. What's my practical real-time use case through which we are going to do? So my training style and examples are designed in such a way that even a layman person can understand. Somebody who don't understand too much depth of functional knowledge on SAP can also learn with the help of this training and grab the core concepts. So our exercise or our demo scenario today is inspired also from real life examples. Most recently in 2024, we just passed through the biggest democratic elections in the second largest democracy in the world, USA. So in 2024, Donald Trump beating Kamala Harris with record number of votes. And that was one of the most prominent elections in the history of United States. Suppose you are working as a S4 HANA consultant in Fox Media House in US and your management asks you to create a analytic report to demonstrate the results of elections with an overview. You would want to analyze and report how many seats were there and how many seats were won during the election by presidential candidates across different states of US in each county. So we have different states across around 51 states in America, and each state is further divided into counties. The the public have gone ahead and casted their vote for two of the major candidates, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, belonging to Democrats and Republican Party. We would like to analyze this data and build a analytic dashboard for our organization. Let us go ahead and see this in action. How can we achieve this? So I'm going to head over back and show you first our data set, which I've already created over here in my SAP system. Now the screen, you will see the tool. It's called ABAP development tool. I'm going to show you how to set up this tool in my next class. But for demonstration purpose, I already have this tool with a database table showcasing the US elections data. If I do a data preview of this table, I can see that I have state, I have county, total number of votes casted, how many votes were brought by Republicans, and how many were gained by Democrats. Finally, we have the candidate who has won the county. So this is the information. We have it available very readily and easily at front of us. Now we can utilize this information, and there are three important KPIs to understand: the total number of votes in each county, how many votes gained by Republicans and Democrats. So based on these three important KPIs, our key measures, we are going to determine the election results in a beautiful dashboard and have a ability to drill down into the results as well. And to be able to achieve it, we are going to follow certain steps, which I demonstrated already. So first we started our development tool, and next step we're going to build a simple CDS view for that. So let's understand what is CDS and what is CDS view. So CDS stands for Core Data and Services. It is used to create semantically rich data model in SAP S4 HANA systems. It's one of the best alternate of SQL in S4. So when your company wants to build any use case, any application, In the past, you used to write select queries, but now we can leverage and utilize the concept of CDS or so-called core data and services. Using CDS and core data and services, you can actually build semantically rich data models. These data models can be used to extract the data from your database table and add additional details like semantically rich details, and finally publish this data model to the end user to expose the data, where you can use it for the purpose of building an application like an Android application, creating a Fiori application, or a third party system integration. The benefit of CDS views are that they are executed deep into database. So CDS views are executed inside the database engine. Hence, we don't need to move massive data to application server. So in the past, you used to write programs which moves massive data to application server. You loop over the data, process the data, and finally use that data to build your report. But now what we do is we process all this massive data into database, and we don't have to move this in the application server. We only move the final result, which is consumed in the application. Additionally, we can provide annotations, which drives the functionality of our app. So let us go ahead and create a simple CDS view. By the way, in this training, we are going to use CDS entities, rather CDS views. And I will also explain you the difference between view and entity as part of our training. So you will understand that, and you will be able to use the latest concepts as part of your day-to-day work. So I will head over back to my system and use this database table US elections to create a CDS entity. So let me create a new CDS entity. If you are new to this interface, this experience, what I'm using, don't worry. In my next class tomorrow, I will show you how can you get this tool in your laptop, whether you're using your company or personal laptop. We will also talk about server access in the next class. So let me search for core data and services and create a new data definition over here. So let me put the name Z Anubhav US ELE, USA elections result. Z Anubhav USA. That's my name of the view I'm creating. So we are living in 21st century and the tools are becoming very powerful. The time is gone when you have to write every small part of the application yourself. Nowadays, we have very powerful tools which we can utilize to build our applications. So the tool which we are going to use is this Eclipse tool, and here you get a template which will auto generate the skeleton of your view to expose your data. So I use this skeleton and finish, and you will see a basic skeleton will get created over here. Now these components are called annotations, which starts with at the rate of. They have very special significance in the development of an entity or a view. I will explain about these annotations in detail in our unit number 9, 10, and 11. We have a dedicated session, but for demo, I will just proceed further and only describe the annotations which I will write. So let's put the database table name Z Anubhav USA. The table name is Z USA elections. That's a table name. So you can think like it's simple select query with all the fields coming inside the curly braces. So I put control space and press enter, which will auto generate my code now. Now my code is auto generated. And in this, we are going to write our logic. So that is our CDS view. Let's also mark this as analytic cube. So a analytic cube has capability to aggregate the data because we would like to showcase at times How many total number of seats were won by Republicans and Democrats? So at some time we would like to sum the number of votes counted. So that's why we are creating it as a cube. In addition, I'm going to come down and for all the votes, we will put aggregation as sum. I would like to calculate sum of total votes casted for these candidates in different states and county. In addition, we will also come back and create a OData service. So we will mark OData publish as true. What this annotation does, it will actually create a web service for us. Yeah, it will create a web service for us. This web service will allow us to show the data. Yeah, this web service will allow us to show the data. So basically what is happening here, that in our ABAP system, we are going to get a view created. So this is our application layer. Yeah, so there is this application layer where we are creating our CDS view in our application layer in ABAP layer. Now this will then create a view inside my database, and we are going to use the SAP's HANA database here. So a view gets created in HANA, and then on top of it we are creating a web service so that this data can be given to a mobile application, and then we're going to create a mobile application which is basically nowadays called as Fiori app. Yeah. Now to create this view we are using a tool called ADT tool, ABAP development tool, which I will show you setting up. But to create the mobile app, we're going to use another tool called Business Application Studio. This tool also I will teach you in the training how to set up this tool. Yeah. Now here this web service is what I need to also create as a OData service actually. And this is what I'm doing actually right now by creating this web service. So once we activate this, a web service gets created. So I activate this and you will see a web service gets created automatically. So when I go back and hover the mouse here, you can see this is the web service. This is the name. But this service is still not exposing the data out of my company system. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to enter my web service name. So let's come back and register this web service. Click on add and register this web service to expose my company data out. I do that and that will create my web service. Perfect. So now we can test this web service to expose our data. So a web service is created. It's called OData service. Don't worry, I will also give you complimentary video on how to create a OData service actually in our company. So what is an OData service? What are the components of an OData service? All of that I will also explain you as part of the session. Okay, once this is done, my next step is to create a Fiori application, the analytic application to analyze this election data. So to do that, we use a tool called Business Application Studio tool. In our unit number 9, I'm going to teach you how to set up the Business Application Studio tool as part of our company system that we are going to see also in our training. But for now, I have already set up that as part of our session already. So that I've already set up that tool actually. So what we are going to do, we are going to go back and utilize that tool, yeah, this particular tool to actually build my application. So this is the BAS tool which we have already. I will also show you this how to set up and what is BAS tool. Everything is part of the training. We are going to learn that. So I will go ahead now and utilize this so-called BAS tool to create our application in the system. So let the BAS tool boot up and then we will create an application. So let me open the tool, and this will be like any other general development tool which we all are used to use to create our application. So we'll be creating our Fiori application, our web application over here. So let's come back and we will create an app. So this is how the tool look like, and it also gives you something called templates to quickly generate an app. So I'm going to come back to help, get started, and we're going to choose here create a new project from template. As I mentioned, we are living in 21st century where the tooling has become very powerful. So I go to create a project from template, choose the option called SAP Fiori generator, click on start and choose here an application type called analytic list page. That is the kind of application which gives you ability to analyze the data. So we choose that, and then we're going to select here the data source. So I have already created a successful connection between this BAS tool and our SAP system where we just build the service. I will also show you how to do this connection yourself as part of our training session. So I will now connect to our company S4 HANA system. You can see I've given the connection details over here. And then we are going to get the list of all the services over here. So in a minute, I'm going to enter the service name, and that's my service which I just created few minutes ago. So basically we are creating an analytic application connecting to our service. Now, next, we then choose the entity. That's nothing but the name of the view. Click on next. And now we give the project name. So let's give the project name as USA elections. So I can say USA elections. And now I give a title for my application. So let me choose the title USA election results dashboard. And I can finish. So this way, a simple application will get created over here. So you can see it is just creating an application, and in few seconds the application will be ready connecting to our service. So how easy was that to create a mobile application, a Fiori application for our business. So that is our USA election application. You can see perfect. So it is created now, and we can immediately test this application here. But this is pretty much an empty canvas. This application have nothing inside. Yeah, it will be very much empty. So what will happen? We can actually view this application. It will have no selection field. It will have no table, nothing. It will be pretty empty. And as a user or as a end user, you have to configure everything in this. Yeah. So let me just show you. Let it boot up, and you will see that we can go to filters. We can add some filtering criterias. We can also choose here some criteria here. You can see the labels are not coming properly also. So all these things we can fix it. So you will see the data will come out of my SAP system, my company system. You can see over here. It is also counting these votes. Now, first problem is these labels are not proper because we don't have a data element at our table level to give the labels. So we're going to go back to the CDS entity, and here we're going to provide the labels in form of annotation. So we say semantic.text. I will be teaching you all these annotations in detail. Yes, it's called end user text dot label, and we say this is state of USA, this is county, then this is total votes, how many votes Republicans got, how many votes casted by Democrats, and what was the candidate name. Cool. Apart from that, we will also put annotation to create selection field so user can filter the data. So it's called UI dot selection field annotation. I can come back and say position 10. So my state, county, and my candidate name will be selection field. So we are creating 3 selection fields using selection field annotation. So as a result, these fields will appear here automatically. Then in the if you want to create columns in the table, the second annotation is called at UI line item annotation. So we will create first column as state name, second column as county, third column as total votes, fourth column as Republican vote count, fifth column as Democrat vote count, and sixth column as candidate name. So all the 6 things will create as a columns. Perfect. I activate my view and straight ahead go back to the output and just refresh. So as a result, you are going to get the output over here. So let's see what happens now. So we are going to get the columns and search fields. So you see, we have got search fields and we have also got the columns at the bottom. Now, if I want to check for a particular state or a particular county, I can always search that. Fantastic. So this is how exactly we can design and develop our table and search field. Now, next part will be the chart. So to create a chart in this middle area, we are going to understand the basic school days. Yeah. So during the school days, if you want to create a chart, what we used to do in the schooling days. So whenever we go and create a chart in school days, we always have a chart with x-axis and with y-axis. So on the x-axis, we put category, and on the y-axis, we put value. Yes, category and value. And then we put the x and y values. So let's say marks of a student in English, in mathematics, and in, let's say, social science. Yeah. So this is how we put the category. Yes, that is our x-axis. So in case of SAP, this is called dimension. And in case of this y-axis, it is called measure. Yeah, it's called measure. So it's called measure and dimension. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and put the same thing to also create a chart to show the total number of candidates and their respective values. So let me go back to the system and build a chart over here, a column chart to show how many total number of votes were casted in a particular state between Republicans and Democrats. So this Republicans and Democrat is the count of votes we would want to compare based on state. So state will be plotted on my x-axis and the number of votes will be plotted on my y-axis. So let's go back and see that in action. So I'm going to come back and we will put a chart annotation. So UI.chart annotation, and I'm going to create a chart type as a column chart. Yeah. And then I'm going to put my dimension attributes, sorry, my dimension values, my x-axis. What are the values I want to put? So I want to put my first value on dimension as my state. Yeah. And then we will put dimension attributes. We would want to put the dimension name again as state, and this will come as a type category. So that is my x-axis. I'm plotting state on my x-axis. That is what I'm doing. Then comes is measures. So we can come back and put measures, and we will put here my measures as Republicans and Democrats. So we say Democrats and Republicans. Perfect. These are my measures which I want to also plot. So I can put measure attributes. My first measure is the Democrats number of votes with roll on axis 1, and then my second measure was the votes which were received by Republicans on my role x-axis. Perfect. So that is what going to create a chart for us in the system. Perfect. So if I now activate my view, we have just configured our X and Y axis. Then we are going to go back and preview the data. So let me go back. Now the computer should show us the total number of votes received by Democrats and Republicans in the system. So I'll come back and search here. So we should be able to see a chart, and Wahala, you can see Alabama, Alaska. So in the California highest, you can see how much number of votes were achieved by received by Democrats. Yeah. So in Florida, it was the Republicans which was ahead in the election. So this is the quick comparison between the number of votes between the Democrats and Republicans across different states. Now, this is the main benefit you're going to get when it comes to the data. Now, if you click Florida here, it will also show you all the Florida specific data in all the counties of Florida. You can see it's doing the filtering. You also get automatic capability to expand and do Excel export. All these are out of the box capability, which we get it. So within 20 to 30 minutes, we were able to develop, design a simple dashboard application using our SAP S4 HANA system with a practical scenario. Imagine at the end of 40 hours of this training, you will be able to learn how many things. Of course, it was a demo, but when we go deep dive into our training, I'm going to detail out small details about all the aspects of building our app, that we're going to learn as part of our journey. So let's understand some of the FAQs asked by some of you in the past with regard to this particular module. Anubhav, do I need to have any prior knowledge on HANA to learn this training? And the answer is no. You don't need to have any prior knowledge on HANA database. You can actually learn this training without any prior knowledge on HANA. How much of the ABAP knowledge is required to learn ABAP on HANA? So we would not need much of ABAP knowledge. Only basic knowledge on data dictionary, internal table, basic syntax is enough. That is again only for first 30% of the course. The remaining 70% of the course is for beginners. Even those people who are not from ABAP background, they can also learn. Rest all the topics are absolutely new for even ABAP developers like CDS, AMDP, SQL scripting, data modeling, view proxies. All these are new concepts which are even new for ABAP consultants. I am new to BW. I am from BW and BI background. Can I learn ABAP on HANA? Answer is certainly yes. No matter what background you are from, you can actually learn S4 HANA. You can learn, and you should, because nowadays for S4 HANA embedded analytics and for analytics cloud, every company is looking for consultants who can develop this kind of application. So that is very, very important. So how much deep knowledge of object oriented ABAP is required? Not much, very basic knowledge. If you have very good, it's an advantage. Like what is a class, what is an object, that's more than enough. Yes. What about server access for this training? So we can actually arrange a server for you if you don't have one from your company. And I'm going to explain that in my next class tomorrow. So tomorrow we will see how can you have a server access and what can you look in your company with regard to a system access to be able to build an application. Which version of HANA and S4HANA we are going to learn all these things. So we will use SAP NetWeaver 756 latest version with the HANA 2.0 with ABA layer to learn and build these topics as part of the training. So how will this course spend? How much time we will on this course we will spend on CDS? Yeah. So around 40% of the topics are around CDS views and CDS entities. So we're going to learn that around 40% of our time on the CDS views and entities. Do I need to have any prior OData service experience? Answer is no. There is no OData experience required. We will give you complimentary sessions on OData services. Can I also take this course in video mode if the timing doesn't suit me? And certainly, yes. In case you feel that timing doesn't suit you, time zone doesn't suit you, or you want to fast track your learning as you are anticipating a upcoming project, then you can take our video mode training of the most recently completed live batch, which we recorded, and you can watch through the videos to practice and learn these things. Yeah. What are the tools do I need to practice for this training? So as I mentioned, we will be using the so-called ABAP development tool on Eclipse, including Business Application Studio tool for building Fiori apps. So these are the tools you would be needing to practice in this training, and all these tools are also part of the package. So when I teach you in the coming classes, I will be teaching you how to set up these tools as part of your system yourself. So how can I join this training? What is the process? Process is very simple. You just have to drop us an email on contact@anubhavtrainings.com to sign up for this training, and then we will enroll you for this training actually. Yeah. So that's the process you can follow along. With that, thank you once again for joining this demo session with us today. And we hope to see you in the next episode in the next class tomorrow. Till then, have a nice day and goodbye.